we've designed these victory points with the idea that it's not all about land forces. We have to involve your airplanes. You have to involve your navy, and really put the skills to the test of all these teams. Spread them around across the world. Have a world conflict over this, and yeah, it should be setting us up for an interesting fight.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Hearts of Iron 4 5-year anniversary multiplayer. My name is Josh. I'm the community manager for Hearts of Iron 4, and I'm joined today to spectate on a madness is Alex, our community ambassador.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Very well, thank you. I'm very excited for the 10 hours of gameplay we've got both today and tomorrow between 5 different teams of players from across the world. This is a global conflict. And we've got a bunch of players from all over the world taking part into 5 different teams of 3 players. So, across the world, we have a team. We have Team Russia, we have Team Turkey, we have Team Poland, Team Denmark, and Team Paradox as the wild cards here to come in and cause a bit of carnage. Who's your favourite team so far, Alex? Who's your most interesting pick?
I am torn because we've had the luxury of keeping an eye on the teams all throughout the week while they've been planning, while they've been coming up with things. And I think Team Poland have a really solid plan behind them. But I can't get over the absolute tower of manpower that Team Denmark is going to be with India and the USSR on their team.
We'll get into exactly which nations each team has picked very shortly. But first, let's talk about how they're going to win the game. This is not a straight conventional game of Hearts of Iron 4 where you just have to win the war against your opponents. Each team or every team has a set of specific victory states that they need to capture. There are 13 victory states in total spread throughout the world. And capturing each one of these states will give a certain number of points, along with things like capturing your opponent's capitals and defending your own for starter. And so they have to capture these specific states. Winning elsewhere won't be enough. They have to try and maneuver their countries into a position to be able to take these key locations around the world. Which one do you think is going to get the most attention out of those 13?
So I think, honestly, a wildcard one, which is Miranda, the state where the capital of Venezuela is. I think that is going to be a point of contention purely because of the Venezuelan oil. I think we're going to see a lot of combat around there. We've also got 2 teams split essentially either side of that. We've got one team that has Brazil and Canada and the other with the USA and Mexico. So there's going to be vying for control of those 2 South American and Central American states, Cuba and Venezuela there. It's going to be absolutely pivotal. I also think the next biggest contention points are going to be the ones in Europe. I think we're going to see a lot of fighting over Ile-de-France, and I think we're going to see a lot of fighting over Stockholm.
Okay.
Svealand.
So, without further ado, let's get into the game. I'm going to unpause at a fairly sedate pace to start with, whilst we have a look around what's going on. In fact, I have to switch to the computer I'm hosting the game from, and we're gonna get started at speed 3. Which is what we're going to play at. So yes, chat. One thing I will mention now, which is somewhat unusual, is because in Hearts of Iron 4 you cannot host a game if you are spectating. We have a host computer that is playing Bhutan in this game. So if you're in any of the guys' chats around Twitch and you see them trying to attack Bhutan, tell them not to attack Bhutan because that will break the game because you'll game over the host, and then we'll be in a bit of trouble there. So let's go around and talk about each of the 4 teams in turn, and we'll start over in the Americas with Team Russia, who picked the United States as their first nation.
Yes. Really, just as a note to those of you who are watching this stream, there is a player hub where you can find all of the player perspectives should you wish to go find them. This is one of the first times I believe that Hearts of Iron 4 has been streamed at the same time in a multilingual event. This stream is available not only in English in influencer perspectives and our perspective, but you can also catch it in Turkish, Russian and Polish depending on where you go. One of the main things to remember about these teams is they were not allowed to pick their namesake nation, meaning Team Russia could not be the USSR, purely because it is one of their tasks to take the capital of the USSR for those glorious extra bonus points. So they picked the next biggest nation and went for Russia, for the USA as Team Russia. So they've gone for the USA, Mexico, and then South Africa as their third choice.
Yes, indeed. We'll dive into more detail regarding the victory points and what score each team has got as we progress into the event. But yeah, so each nation, in addition to the 13 points they can capture, any nation can capture to get points from, there are points that only a specific team can get by taking their namesake capital and then the capitals of any other player nations at the same time. So yeah, Team Russia has the USA, not USSR, USA, Mexico, and they also have South Africa down here. You may note Britain, its dominions are not under Britain because once the UK was picked, its dominions were free, so other teams could pick those nations. So Australia and New Zealand didn't get picked, but they are not under the UK's domination at the moment. So yeah, pretty strong team there. Very, very powerful industry. You can see their early focus is continue the New Deal. And then down here in South America, we have Brazil, who are a part of Team Turkey, which by the colour you may know is led by, in major terms, by Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so they had Japan as their major nation pick, and then Brazil and Canada, which in fact, during our draw, which we did over social media, they picked Brazil and Canada way before they picked their major, clearly looking to disrupt the American Thunderdome that has formed up, because we do have 3 different teams with land over there. So fighting is going to be pretty hectic over there because the dev team also have those holdouts from Britain. 4 teams.
Yeah, 4 teams because the Netherlands is in Team Poland and they have Curacao down here. So there's a lot of interest in the Americas here, which generally in Hearts of Iron games either is quite a peripheral theatre or doesn't feature at all, really. This game, it's going to be very important.
Where is the player hub? Okay, so the player hub will appear in chat from time to time. It's on a timer, or you can find it in the panels below, I believe. If not, I'm sure someone from Streaming Studio will post it in chat right now, so you go and check out those perspectives. As for why the teams are not named after the nations that are in them, it's because it's named after the nationalities of players that are in it, and or what they're standing for, who they're fighting on behalf of. Team Denmark being the weird exception because we all know Denmark's not a real country, and that it was basically we didn't want a Team UK when none of the influencers on said team are from the UK. So we gave it the mythical name of Team Denmark. Anyway. Yes,
so indeed, yes. So we Team Poland here, continuing from the threat. We'll ignore the Paradox guys for a second, but we'll come back to them. So Team Poland here, with Dankus as Germany, we have Kalak as the Netherlands, and we have Torior as Poland. We didn't actually introduce the players on the Russian team. We should do that now, actually. Yeah, so we have Katahon on the USA. We have Iskol or ISKL on the Mexico, and then for South Africa, that leaves Vovoda as the South African player on the Russian team. And then down here in Team Turkey, we had Venzo in Brazil, we had Kayalp in Canada, and we have Max Marine over here in Japan, our Turkish players. And so yeah, Germany for Team Poland, which is somewhat ironic. Bulgaria and the Netherlands are the 3 gets. So very geographically together down here, doing Rhineland straight away, the Germans. So they got quite a strong position to sort of get all this sort of Balkan area and maybe even Italy, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Team Poland geographically have the least area out of all of the teams in this multiplayer, but they do have an industrial heartland of Europe, and they have probably the biggest expansion room comparatively, with a lot of claims from the focus trees from those nations, and not to mention the Netherlands also has that all-important in Indonesia, and access to a lot of rubber, which can really fuel the German war machine. So they're not a team to be trifled with, beget their size.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've got these areas where there's like all the teams together. So also the East Indies here, we got all 4 teams in sort of touching distance of each other. So that'll be another quite important flashpoint. And then our final team here, Team Denmark, with the Soviet Union, Turkey, and India. So Bo is playing as the Soviet Union. We have Unhistorical is Turkey, and we have that guy from college playing India. So India, of course, freed from the UK. It's an independent thing. It doesn't control Pakistan and Burma. It's going to need to conquer those if it so chooses. And yeah, very strong team here. Turkey and the Soviet Union very, very strong. And the manpower coming out of India is going to be like a really big help to them.
Their main problem is getting that manpower into the field fast enough and getting their industry kick-started, because all of those nations start relatively rough in industry compared to the other powers that they're going to be beset against. But like we said, they have that manpower to field from. They can just throw troops on the line. They're going to be able to, if they can field those armies, fight on multiple fronts at once, because they could just field massive armies everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. But that's not all. Those are our four player teams from across the world. Then we have two things at play here, which will spice things up. The first thing is that every AI nation that remains in the game is on random focuses, so they can do whatever they want. So China and France and Romania and Poland, all these guys, they're on random focuses, so they will do potentially some quite wacky and interesting things. And also, we have Team Paradox here to spice things up, to be the wild cards, to disrupt and get in the way of the players' plans. Playing as the UK, we have Bratton, we have Daniel as Spain, and we have Cranium Muppet, who's Victor, as Portugal. A very, very sort of together team here. Got some big plans, I know, about trying to make sure they can frustrate the aggressive plans of their neighbours and hold out at all costs. Ethiopian War here, already ongoing. Ethiopia is, of course, a victory point, so very important area here that the Paradox guys may have some say over, having a good border here with the
Well, they actually
region.
have access to another VP very quickly, because the Ethiopian, for that same reason, because Tripoli is another one of the VPs. Oh, sorry, VSs, because we've decided to call them victory states rather than victory points, because a team needs the entire state to get to the point.
Yes. Yes, you have to have the whole thing. If two teams like are contesting it, then neither team will get the point. Essentially, let's just actually run over through all the victory states one by one, just so chat. And if you want to have a list to hand of who owns what, then we can help you with that. If I just bring up the list so that I can see it, which is here. So, I'm gonna have to remember what these states are now. Svealand, which I assume is up here.
It's Stockholm.
Oh, it's Stockholm, is it? Okay.
Yes, it's Stockholm. I thought, as this is the 5-year anniversary of Hoy, we should make the Paradox offices one of the combat zones.
Yeah.
So yes, Stockholm itself is the first of the victory points. I believe I can possibly do this from memory now, because I was staring at that screen for a long time.
Take over the control and show us the states.
So it's at Stockholm. We also have then Ile-de-Paris, or Ile-de-France, for Paris, which obviously going to be a massive point of contention, especially between Team Paradox and Team Poland. It will be whoever can get there the fastest. The other one in Europe is Albania, just to try and get the Balkan involvement going a bit more. That's going to be that area is going to be of high contention between Team Poland and Team Denmark if the Soviets invade. So that's going to be another place to watch. And then we have Tripoli, Ethiopia, which we both already mentioned, which has also gone to Italy now. Ethiopia, so Italy as a nation owns 2 of the victory states right now. So they are going to be an AI that everybody wants to try and grab. Then over in the New World, or in the Americas, we have Cuba, and we have Miranda, which is the capital of Venezuela. That's where Caracas is. So those 2 states, that's going to be a huge area of contention again. We're going to see a lot of naval combat probably in this area as people try to invade and hold on to Cuba. Cuba, as most people in Hoy know, is a relatively difficult AI to invade in itself, because they can just very easily fortify their ports and hold out. So we thought that would be a really interesting point of contention. Another one is Liberia, the secret little state. This is we decided to put this in here because it's one that could easily be forgotten about, and we wanted this conflict to try and expand over the world and pull the teams in all sorts of directions. So putting one over in Liberia is hopefully going to draw some attention and forces over this way, and will probably end up in a quick grab more towards the end. That's what I'm kind of thinking. We also have Baghdad is another victory state. Iraq and Iran are obviously going to be quite a need to get area, especially for Team Denmark and possibly Team Paradox, trying to secure the Middle Eastern oil and that whole front line. Really good defensible locations in those mountains, so that's going to be really interesting to see. And then I believe our final three are over here in Asia and Oceania. We have southern Indochina, or the south of Vietnam, with their with the city of Saigon over here. That is that's going to be. I'm of two minds. I'm thinking either this area is going to be forgotten or held down pretty quickly by the Japanese forces, and we'll see more of the fighting in Nanning up here, which is another one of the points, or it'll be the complete flip, and we'll see loads of fighting around Saigon and really none in the south of China. But we will see the final one of these victory points, I believe, if I haven't forgotten one, is North Island in New Zealand. So
Yes.
we've designed these victory points with the idea that it's not all about land forces. We have to involve your airplanes. You have to involve your navy, and really put the skills to the test of all these teams. Spread them around across the world. Have a world conflict over this, and yeah, it should be setting us up for an interesting fight.
So let's see what each team is up to in the early stages. We'll start over here in the Americas. So Canada going for a fascist path right off the bat. The US did the New Deal. In fact, I'll switch to spectate the US.
They've gone down the Neutrality Act. When I saw them continuing the New Deal, I had a silent hope that they were going to suspend the persecutions and go communist. I love communist USA because you basically also become a massive manpower house by integrating, by desegregating the nation and also integrating women's service. You can seriously stack. I think it was you get something like 4 million manpower before you even go to volunteer only.
Yeah.
But obviously you have to go through a civil war for that, and that can put you in an kind of a sticky situation when it comes to other players getting involved. So I respect it. I respect going Neutrality Act.
Yeah, key thing is that they can do different ideology paths because each team is starting in their faction at the start of the game. They haven't got to worry about trying to form the faction by being the right ideology. So they're all in at the start. So they can all pick what they think is best for their team. So just like the US may indeed be going a democratic path. Mexico has gone purge the bureaucracy, which takes them down towards arresting General Cedillo. And then South Africa, we have expanded with some industry focuses at the moment. No decision on their political path just yet. I've just remembered we start at a higher world tension, don't we? Because we revoked all the guarantees. All player nations that were guaranteeing other nations are no longer doing that. So there's a minor world tension increase from the nations joining these factions as I console commanded them into existence. So we're a little bit high, but yes, we've got justifying on Yugoslavia from Germany right off the bat. We have justify from Japan on Siam right off the bat. Soviets on Romania. Rhineland's happened. Bulgaria's got 5% threat from actions. So war's going to be happening pretty soon. Straight away. Germany, September 36th. They're guaranteed by France and by Czechoslovakia and by Romania. So that will get them all with all three of them. They'll be contesting the Soviets for Romania in a proxy war, but they have a month head start.
Yes. Something to note, actually, to chat and everybody watching at home, is that players cannot war. The factions of players cannot war before 1939. So we're going to see a lot of land grabbing against the AI. It's going to be an early rush to see who can grab the most land, most territory, the most factories, and really start to build up before the all-out world war begins. That war that Germany is trying to plunge itself into very early on could go either way. If they get bogged down with all of those nations guaranteeing that involved in the guarantees, that could really cause them some issues if it slows down their industry or slows down their ability to pump out troops, because they're already massively in the hole in guns.
Germany
right
has 29,000 gun deficit already. I mean, yeah, they're going super aggressive here, because if they can take the Czechs and they can nab the oil in Romania before the Soviets can, that's going to be a really big help for them. There's obviously going to be this really titanic battle between Berlin, the Soviet Union, and Dankus in Germany here. So, getting hold of that oil early on is going to be potentially very, very helpful indeed. Turkey did the Montreux Convention and is now ratifying the 6 arrows and heading down this way. And but the Turks starting with the Soviets means that they've got this southern front here open at a much earlier time if they so choose.
Yep. One other battleground that's really going to be interesting to watch early on is what Japan does with its troops, because they're in a faction with Brazil and Canada. We can stage Japanese forces on the Canadian border and see them. We can see an invasion into the US as soon as 1939 lifts. That might happen. I think AI France is going communist.
Yep,
they are.
Oh,
yep.
yes.
Fantastic. I don't know what that's gonna be, what that's gonna mean for any of the players around that, if that changes any of their plans, etc. I know we are going to have a pause probably very soon, so that Daniel can get ready for his civil war. They're allowed a 2-minute pause to just work out what's happened to their nation during the Spanish Civil War. We have allowed that. Let's see what any of the other AIs are doing, if anyone's doing anything interesting. Hungary's electing a king. Okay. Nothing bizarre elsewhere, I don't think. Oh, there's the Spanish Civil War. Let's give it a quick pause
We're gonna
as
pause
that happens.
for a couple of minutes so that Daniel can sort his front lines out. He is playing as which ones? As the nationalist Spains.
Yes. I always think that Spanish leader that starts off in the nationalist Spain now since La Resistance.
Did he do Carlists? He did do Carlists.
Oh, are they going to... I think they might be going royalists. So we're going to have a monarchist Portugal, Spain, and Britain, because I reckon Britain will go King's Path.
Monarchist Portugal cause the civil war in Brazil, though? No, they're doing. Oh, they could be doing.
No, they could be doing. They fire through their decisions, and I was speaking to Bratton about this earlier because he was asking about Britain with the King's Party and the ability to do that in the Old Dominions. I said, as long as it's not a player, I'm okay with you doing that. But we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'll clarify with Portugal that they don't do the civil war in Brazil before 39, but I can't. I think I may have banned civil wars on other players, so I need to double check.
Yes, but if we see a monarchist defense league there from Paradox.
Okay, trying to see if Daniel is ready. I think that'd be enough time, right?
Yeah,
I reckon so. I reckon we'll be all right. Yeah, let's just unpause.
Daniel is now a absolute pro at doing the Civil War after the ParadoxCon event, so surely he should. He
paused it. And that clearly wasn't enough time. Daniel wasn't ready.
Dankus Heavy Tonk. Hello, Feedback Gaming. We will probably see some Dankus Heavy Tonk, but right now we are seeing Dankus Fallschirmjäger is currently what's being lined up. I'm really pumped for what's to come. I want to see also there's something to look at with the Spanish Civil War is what players get involved, and on what side.
Absolutely. Okay, yeah, we are now playing again. Spain is now happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using the wrong
computer.
Yeah.
So we should probably keep an eye on both sides of this to see if any volunteers turn up. Because we might have a really interesting case where we see German, Soviet, Brazilian, or whomever can send volunteers on the opposite side to Daniel, just to try and wreak havoc on the Paradox team. Japan has declared war on Siam, so this is another team is going in on Siam. Have they got any invasions planned?
Vote now.
They have. Massive naval invasion coming in here from Japan, leaving Taiwan, landing in Siam. Gonna get them very close to, well, one of the victory points here. And here it goes. The Japanese Royal Imperial Navy coming in with 10 divisions. First active land grab here from a faction. This, of course, is Team Turkey coming in. I wonder how successful this will be.
Team Turkey with the first big move there, real war. Are the Soviets still justifying on Romania?
I think they cancelled that.
Believe they are. Or did they cancel it?
I think both the Germans and the Soviets cancelled their justification. But we'll see.
So press the wrong button. There we are. Okay. That's a very big escorting fleet.
Yes, it is. I don't think the Siamese are going to be able to beat the Imperial Navy there. Oh, and the Siamese with their 3 divisions. I think they're about to have a very bad day. There goes Bangkok instantly. Bon voyage.
F's in the chat for Siam.
And their new capital, however, has moved all the way down the peninsula to Hat Yai.
Hat Yai.
Hat Yai. Of course, the true capital, the true victory point, Hat Yai.
So key things here, we have their tech Siam, so they're going to have a border with Burma, and then there's India just through the other side. So potential, big battleground in Indochina if Team Denmark decide to come through and from India and contest those victory points, but it's probably relatively unlikely. They might prefer to go for other ones, simply because that's quite a long, grueling long campaign to get to southern Indochina.
Yes, and Japan is doing a pretty it's a pretty good call for them here, because if they take Siam and they do get Burma and maybe even Yunnan, they can block off these 2 victory points from Team Denmark. They still have Team Paradox to deal with, because Team Paradox exists in British Malaya, I believe. Do they not?
They do indeed. The winner of our poll was Team Turkey, who had 45% of the channel points contributed to the poll, because that's how it works now on Twitch, isn't it? You don't actually have individual votes; they're like amounts of channel points. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it is 104 votes to 54 for Team Turkey. So Team Turkey, the clear choice there. Czechoslovakia is at war with the Germans. How did this happen? They cancelled their justification. German war on France. Okay. No, the French didn't refuse Rhineland. So Germany is at war with the...
Who's the war leader? Like, is it an aggressive war? Who's...
It's just German war on France.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's on...
Ooh, there's the Czechs gone.
Macedonia, so it's on Yugoslavia.
And they've decided to puppet the Czechs.
Oh, interesting.
They've taken the Sudetenland and puppeted the Czechs into the Bohemian Empire.
Okay, so they're still at war with Romania, Yugoslavia, or what remains of Yugoslavia, and France.
See, I'm unsure of why they might have done that. I can understand with doing it with something like the United Kingdom or even France to gain their navies, or keep their navies out. There goes Siam. But as for the landlocked Czechs, I'm not sure. Maybe it's to do with resistance and not wanting to put much manpower into garrison divisions.
Maybe. So this war was declared. The war goal is for Macedonia. So they declared on Yugoslavia. Maybe it was Bulgaria, because Germany, when we looked, had no justifications going. So maybe it was Bulgaria that we missed. So yeah, big war here. The Soviets are justifying on Romania still, and they have another month to go though. So Germany's got a month to deal with Romania before they have to worry about Soviet intervention, and they may well be able to do it. We've got tank divisions in here already.
The Soviets are going to be watching this.
What tanks are these?
Volunteers, manpowers.
20 light.
Oh.
So we're looking at... Oh, it's no tanks at all. It's all SB artillery. That's funny.
Yeah. SPRSE. Ah, yes,
Oh
the
Lord,
West.
yes, 20 factories on the self-propelled guns
Making the Wesps.
for the Germans. 3 anti-airs. And they're
Wesps
making
give me PTSD nightmares from an old Flash game that I used to play, but there was a thing where a Wesp would randomly spawn and then just blow up your entire lines. So seeing one of those is just like, it brings fear into me. Also, I am interested to see if the Soviets do get a chance to get in here.
These self-propelled guns are making quick work of the Romanian army here. I don't think the Soviets are going to get a chance to come in.
No. I do love the little unit model as well, though, just to see a little self-propelled gun rolling about. Oh, and the Germans cutting off the Soviet border just to stop them grabbing.
The Soviets said no on the tank treaty, which is quite fun.
What does that entail? I'm not familiar.
For Germany, it's the Panzer IIIs ahead of time, and the Soviets, I believe, get a bunch of tank research out of it. I'm less familiar with how it's on the Soviet side, but for the Germans, it's the Panzer IIIs they get ahead of time.
The Soviets have sent tank volunteers into Romania.
Yes, they have.
Oh, so they're trying to fight back, and now, although some of the Romanian army has been stopped, the Soviet tanks are really slowing the progress. I'm guessing the Soviets given up on their own ability to declare this war and have decided to just try and slow down Team Poland. And just making sure there's nothing else going on worldwide right now. What are the current wars? Just the Spanish Civil War and the German-French War. Okay, so this is our main focus. Daniel's having some issues with the Spanish Civil War, it seems, however.
Yeah, I mean, so he's the fascist side, so he wanted it early. I mean, I think he's going to be fine. He's just taking his time to ensure that it's all okay.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he's just got the encirclement in the north. Yeah, there goes Romania.
It'll be interesting to see how they divide the land between Germany or Bulgaria, or if it's all going to Bulgaria. I would expect... There we go. It's all going to Bulgaria. Does mean a large portion of Bulgaria's manpower now, though, is going to be sunk into garrisons, which Bulgaria doesn't have a lot of.
Yeah, that's true. But still, this is a really strong early position for Team Poland. Chat, apologies if when we call them like Team Germany, because it's really confusing when Team Russia aren't the Soviets.
Yeah. And do you know whose fault that is? Our own. It's down to us. Me and Josh named these teams. We named these factions. So you only have us to blame. And now that Daniel is sadly not with us for PDX, he's now his own independent entity. I think we need to be, hashtag blame Josh.
Oh no, don't blame me. That's not a good long-term strategy. Yes, chat. If you're not familiar, if you didn't watch the 5-year anniversary stream with the developers yesterday, Daniel is leaving Paradox, or has left Paradox. In fact, he posted on Twitter as well yesterday. So if you want to go and thank him for his hard work on the game over like 5 or 6 years, then please do head over to his Twitch channel and tell him yourself in chat. I'm sure he would appreciate that. He will be missed greatly by everyone on the dev team on Hoi. And yes, he's here for his last hurrah as a dev on the dev team for Paradox in their 5-year event.
Yeah, he could not miss out. Yeah, he could not miss out on the chance to defend the dev honor or betray his fellow devs one last time, depending on how things go. No, that would never happen.
Daniel would never betray his fellow devs in the multiplayer. That would just never happen.
So now the front line.
Bulgaria and Yugoslavia getting sandwiched now. They're gonna be gone very shortly, and they've got a big position. Yes, yeah. So Daniel's Spain, I think it's just because it's the unplanned offensive penalty. He's just mopping up these pockets, and then he'll push south. Nobody has sent volunteers to his opponents, so he's relatively, pressure free on that. Britain, meanwhile, has doing industry focuses. Has it got anything interesting regarding its troops? We've got. Sorry, I'm still on Spain. There we are.
You are.
Britain just has all of its troops in the UK exercising. and they're all the same template. They're all standard infantry, 18 width. Trying to get that experience, and yeah, it's fleet. Where is his fleet? Is it all at home? Oh, it's all at home, I think. Oh no, some of it's here in the middle. Oh no,
No,
it's all just like stacked in the UK ports. Cool, right? So yeah, Siam fell to Japan. Go ahead.
So, just as an interesting point of reference, other than British Malaya, which is still under British control, because they've lost a lot of their dominions, a lot of Britain's resources are down, which means Team Paradox itself, it's actually going to really struggle on the oil front. So yes, Britain still has its massive navy. It's going to really struggle to field that, so I can understand him bringing it home and using it far more sparingly in the conflict to come. I mean, they've got a lot of rubber, but their oil is really tight, and they won't have an America to buy from either, because that is a different team.
Well, I mean, like potentially they could, because like the teams aren't obliged to be, overtly hostile to every other team. Like the US might decide, or rather Team Russia might decide, actually if we support the UK against Team Poland, that actually works out better for us. So they may well decide to sell oil to the UK like that. The Team Paradox here are going to be sort of, they're here to cause problems and be disruptive to the devs, and also have fun doing it. So people might work with them because they can't win in the same way as the other teams can. So they're not so much as a threat.
It would not surprise me as well if it was Team Paradox who were the ones doing the backroom talking and trying to get some sneaky discussions going on. It's in the lifeblood of most of the developers to do the conniving roleplay scenario and talk to someone in their DMs like, hey, if you sell us oil, we'll help you. It's totally in the vein of
yes,
how the devs play multiplayers. So
indeed,
we will see.
Yes, and chat. If you've come to the stream late, if you're just tuning in, this is a multiplayer game for the 5th anniversary of Hearts of Iron. We have 5 teams of 3 players. 4 of them are from representing different nations around the world. So we've got Team Russia, made up of 3 Russian content creators, 3 Denmark, which is Bo and a couple of other English language creators playing as Denmark. Well, as Denmark, but on behalf of Denmark. Team Poland and a Team Turkey as well, and also a Team Paradox. So they're competing over key victory points around the world, and that's the basic gist of what's happening at the moment. As we see, Yugoslavia has gone down.
Yes, and it's again, land has gone to Bulgaria. I wonder if they're going to try. Did Bulgaria get the Balkan Union as part of their focus tree, or is that just it? So they might actually be able to get all of this as core manpower and core states eventually, might they?
Yes, that is a strong Bulgaria, at least in land size.
Greater Bulgaria.
Well, there's some divisions left in Yugoslavia, allied ones, mostly French. They seem to be.
Yeah, we'll have a look there. Yep, got some French. The Dutch East Indies has joined the Netherlands in the Dutch-French War. Okay, so that's the Dutch joining this war.
Oh, hang on. No, that's significant. France owns Indochina.
That's very significant.
So are they going to be trying to? Let me have control a second.
Of course, yeah.
I'll go for it. I can just. There we are. Okay. Yeah. So France controls Indochina here. Are we looking at naval invasions anywhere? Not at the moment. I mean, of course, they wouldn't come from the puppet. They'd come from the Netherlands themselves.
What's the naval supremacy around here like? Well, they might. Well,
I mean, there's no fleet
China. They don't need to take it, if you know what I mean. They just need to defeat France.
That's true. Well, yes, yeah, of course.
The Dominion.
They would then just have to try and hold it against the other teams. Of course, it only counts what you hold at the end of the game, chat. So you don't get any points for taking stuff early. It's just what you are holding at the moment the game ends tomorrow. As we see that France is always either invaded or is being allowed to invade Germany.
No, there's Russian tanks in there.
There is Russian tanks in there. So you imagine this isn't them trying to bait a pocket to then cut it off.
No.
Of course, there is no.
Fallschirmjägers. Hello.
Oh, good lord.
That was the most British reaction to Fallschirmjägers. Oh, good lord.
Hello there. Show me France game. I want to see from France's perspective. There we are. So I haven't got the airborne lines in the way. Yeah, so we got Germany declaring war on Luxembourg. Are they activating those vassal plans now? No, not yet. They're still deploying.
What's the air map mode look like? Oh,
Green for Germany. Does the Soviets have air volunteers? As India declares war on Pakistan. Okay. They do have air volunteers over here, the Soviets, but it's not enough.
What's one of those air divisions? It's called Too Bad. Oh no, it's called Too Bad. I don't know. Is that an in-game generated name, or somebody named that?
I don't know, honestly.
Didn't think you could rename.
There goes Luxembourg, the most important nation in the world.
We also did play with the idea of Luxembourg being a victory point, but we decided against it in the end. Mainly when France became... it's gone to the Netherlands. So Greater Benelux on the way?
It might be, yeah. They're being pinged to defend here because there are Russian tanks queuing up here.
Yes, those Dutch Unicorn divisions.
Those German tanks are ridiculous.
Shredding.
They're absolutely shredding these French divisions. Self-propelled guns. We have seen this before in Hearts of Iron multiplayer.
There's going to be an encirclement here, I think.
I can't see it because of the freaking...
I think you need to go to the
paratrooper orders. But yeah, almost.
Can you just quickly scroll over and take a look at Albania, because I think Team Poland might have gotten their... Oh no, they haven't yet.
They haven't yet. They probably
Albania is a victory point.
So, it is a victory point. Here come the paratroopers from the Germans.
And Paris, Paris is a victory point, so we could see our first victory point change hands right now.
It's defended. They've taken the north. They've taken the airbase up here, which is important. Although maybe not so much in the early game.
Paris has fallen to Fallschirmjägers.
They have to secure the state, though.
They do.
As
they've secured the country instead.
Oh, F.
Yeah, there's chat for France.
There's paratroopers.
So this is going to be 2 victory states going over to Team Poland, because not only is this Ile-de-France, but this is also, as we mentioned before, this is Indochina, southern Indochina, the great city of Saigon, also known as Ho Chi Minh City today.
Yes.
Yeah, I need to find
France has gone very early. Many multiplayer games do ban the use of paratroopers for this kind of reason. Obviously, like it's a part of HOI, so we don't want to ban mechanics from the game because it's the game. But yeah, this is what can happen. As France was an AI and not a player, it didn't defend some of its points as well as it should have done. Well, it didn't expect the paratroopers, and it didn't expect Germany to be at war with it in 1936, because that's not what's supposed to happen.
So yes, it's 10 points per victory state, and then 30 points per capital held, whether that be namesake or player capital. So currently, we have on the Combat Calculatron 2000 Poland with 20 points.
Oh, nice orange nation, orange for the United Kingdom of the Netherlands. So they gone.
Look at that moustache.
Are they gone down here somewhere? No, they've not done that. I don't think yet. So I should have just tagged to them to see what they've done. Yes, they've gone down to cave for the Germans. So they're going the fascist path, and they're doing overturning military budget cuts and all that good stuff.
So we've got a veritable European Union appearing for Team Poland, it's going to be an industrial powerhouse. It really is. Team Paradox are going to need to be on the defensive lines very soon.
They're going to need a lot of... I
want level 10 forts in the Pyrenees. Just...
I don't know. Maybe they'll get like a lot of support from some of the other teams, because... If Team Poland take the UK and they take Iberia, then what is...
And they puppeted France, so they've got the French Navy as well, is another thing to note, because they puppeted. So it's going to be a combined German, French, Dutch naval force. And if they puppet Italy as well, oh boy.
But this is nearly done now, this civil war. The anarchists haven't yet fired, so he may be able just to wrap this up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
There's very little here now for the Republicans.
How
job, Dan.
how long are they away from the anarchist pop up?
Good question. Not 49 days. 15 days. So it will happen.
Days.
It'll happen up here. As an impending fascist crackdown, 85 days on the car lists they will need to deal with. Is there a way? Oh, that's right. Because they're doing the car list, they are the insurrection, aren't they?
Yes.
They have to beat the
Greece
fascist
falling.
elements. Oh yes, Greece falling to Team Poland. Netherlands getting some territory. It looks like. Which path is Torior taking? Torior is taking the he chose violence path because they've just like massively expanded Bulgaria down here. I'll have a look at what focus tree path it is in a second. And as they've basically full annexed Greece.
Albania is now in a green hug box both across the water.
Albania is very worried.
Zog, instead of Zog submits to Italy, it's going to be Zog submits to Bulgaria. Or Zog submits to Boris.
Burma. So Burma has now been taken by Japan. And they're now got a border with India.
Yeah, so this is a good move here because this, once again, like we said before, cuts off Team Denmark from going towards Indochina and China.
So we're doing Bulgarian integration of the Balkans, which I can find because I'm not blind. Here it is. Which will give them cores on Macedonia, southern Serbia, and Dobruja. Apologies if I mispronounce. I almost certainly do. And unlocks Bulgarian reintegration campaign decisions, allowing them to core further Balkan states. Make some claims as well from that. So that'll really help their manpower and that kind of thing.
Which they have none right now.
Yeah, none at all. And they're on volunteer only. But yeah, their core manpower currently is their core population is only 6 million. And that'll jump up when they complete this focus and get some of those decisions done.
Yes.
Down on nearly done here. Any wars happening apart from the ones we know about? Britain. Wait, what?
Britain got involved in the Spanish Civil War.
Oh, did they intervene directly? Okay. Iraq now fallen to Turkey. So we'll probably see a war now on Iran from those guys. They should be able to lock down Iran quite easily, actually, considering the Soviets here. India as well, also on the same faction. So this area here should be a lock for Team Denmark.
Yep, that's the first 10 points as well going to Team Denmark. So now they are firmly in second place, but behind Team Poland.
Yes. If you're Team Poland, you probably want to take Denmark. They're actually justifying on Poland currently, so going to war against their namesakes. But yes, I mean, if you're Team Denmark here, if you can get down, you can take Denmark, and you can just hold the straits here on Copenhagen. Like, you know, you that's the best chance you're going to get to hold this point, and you hold Copenhagen, and you try and hold Stockholm as well. And that's two juicy points there for you.
Well, it would be 40 points in total.
Yeah, and then they get Baghdad. So you know there are routes here for other teams, but they're going to have to play smart, and I expect we're going to see some collaboration and negotiation, because if they all play against each other, like Germany is in such a strong early position, they're going to find it really hard to overhaul them one by one. So they might have to sort of have a bit of an accommodation in some areas, make some deals, try and restrain the German mess. It's quite interesting actually how this is kind of echoes like actual history, where you have like all these great powers that are like trying to fulfill their own aims, but then like maybe one gets too powerful, and they need to sort of be held back by the rest. There's the current points. You can see Denmark on 10, Turkey on 10, Poland on 20 currently, and Russia, they're yet to score. And I try and remember again that Russia is not Russia; it's a different team. Yeah, Venezuela has been taken 46 days till Carlisle. Is that right? 34 days now, yes. So that's almost going to happen. I wonder how well Daniel has managed to manage this. It shouldn't be too hard, particularly with the UK and Spain. Although the UK and Portugal have come in on the nationalist Spain side, are they going to be at war with Daniel?
I don't know.
Because nationalist Spain will still exist. Or maybe
It depends if they finish this war or not. I think they need to finish this war right now. Otherwise, everything's going to go to pot.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it might all go a bit weird there. But fingers crossed, it's not too bad.
Of course, if it was to be anyone to break this game while we're doing a multiplayer, it would be Daniel.
It would be the devs playing their own game. Well, you know, there's always things to find and things to break, to fix. The Union Militar Española, Carlos Clause, still has allies among the military, so they can choose which state they want to try and secure for their side. The anarchists have been defeated. No, anarchists have gone. They haven't.
I
till 26 days.
The nationalist colour changed then for a moment.
Oh, Austria! How could you deny a referendum?
Austria.
Oh, of course, because they don't exist.
Okay. That's how.
This is a polite letter. Sorry, no, we're currently not independent. Oh no! Oh good lord! Is that him?
Yep.
Who is he? Which nation did he choose? Well, he's the Carlist.
He's the Carlist. He's the tiny one.
Okay, but Britain and Portugal are at war with other Spain, so they should be fine, right? Because Britain and Portugal can defeat the fascists here, and they have quite a lot of divisions.
Yeah,
they should still be all right. I am gonna. Okay, I'll unpause. I think I'll unpause because yeah, there we are.
It's only fair.
Daniel can pause if he has a panic attack, but it seems like he's okay.
I get.
They should be all right. Portugal, I assume, is going to come across the border here with the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Any minute now. They are at war.
Yep.
I mean, I suspect. How many troops have they got? Oh, not very many. It's not going to be a problem at all. No. They these guys don't have many troops, and Britain and Portugal, not Britain and France, can deal with this easily enough. They may lose Gibraltar though if they're not careful. I'm assuming Daniel paused again. He should be able to unpause them once he's ready. Carlos Spain, yeah, they're doing okay now. Britain appears to have helped enforce along with Portugal, and they're pushing out, and they can't cover the front line. The fascists. This will be linked up soon, and is a virtual formality. Elsewhere, Japan has attacked China.
Okay, so Japan are going into China. I would have thought they would have been trying to get into that as soon as possible. I mean, it is only June 37, but I thought they might have been there soon.
It's about historical time, isn't it, for the invasion of China? It's about on time.
I would have rushed it as fast as possible in order to, nail down that the absolute sink of manpower which China can be, for its actually can grant you.
I know the Japanese troops, but it's Brazil have been given occupation of the state for some reason. That's interesting. Oh, there they are. Oh, it says they're Brazilian here, but then they're not. These are Japanese divisions. Wait, no, it says Brazil. Are they expeditionary force then?
Oh, they might have given them as expeditionary force so the player can control them.
Yes.
Just to help with the micromanagement. That's a really interesting strategy.
That must be what we're seeing here. Yeah. Also, some Canadian troops over here as well, or rather, troops under Canadian command that are Japanese. This template's called Tora, so very appropriate.
Can you imagine just being a Japanese soldier and suddenly walking into a room when you've got this Canadian general sat there, just like, hello.
Yes. Yeah, so naval invasions here going fairly well. China's at war with communist China. There's no alliance there. And the Soviets here pushing in against Xinjiang, as well as the Indians from the south. Burma is a Japanese puppet, and they're lining up against the southern warlords here.
Because the Guangxi clique have a victory state within them as well, so they're going to be one to watch. Team Poland, though, look at the ground that they have covered.
Yeah, it's been a pretty whirlwind start by Team Poland. They've taken up a lot of land and are in a very strong position. Brazil justifying on Colombia now, so just starting the next nation. I'm kind of surprised we're not seeing any moves in the Americas from the US yet.
Mhm.
I guess they probably can't because they're Democratic, or it's very hard for them to do so.
What have the US done with their navy?
Good
I'm
question.
interested to see.
Good question. So we have
Because that's what's really going to make or break this is, can the US stop the Japanese from reinforcing?
It's exercising in one enormous death stack off the west coast, basically.
Lovely. Lovely. Because if the US can stop Japanese reinforcements to Canada and Brazil, they can really cause some problems for their allies there. And Japan could be actually cut off of its minor nation allies. Poland will not be long for this one, unfortunately, but this will be a massive point gain here for Team Poland because they'll get a third.
Oh, they're encircled.
They'll get a further 30 points for when they completely own Warsaw.
Dankus has been encircled. It's only taken 1.5 hours, everyone.
Is he actually going to lose those troops?
No, I wouldn't have thought so, but it's quite humorous that he's indeed encircled.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just going to come smash his units. There we go.
Yeah,
He's made another connection.
Up.
Into Wuj. I believe that's how that was. It's something. I've got quite a few Polish friends, and they've tried to teach me how to say certain city names. I will still butcher them forever, but Lodz there, I think, is something along the lines of Wuj.
Yeah, we have a lot. There's quite a lot of polls on the PDX community team now, and
There are
trying to get their steer on pronunciation. It's just it's very difficult when you're an Anglo.
I struggle enough with English, like.
Very, very nice looking front lines here from Germany.
Poor Poland. Poor Poland. Actually, Ben's wife is in chat. She just said you just want to pronounce the Magnus's real last name. I've tried. I've been told it multiple times. I see it in an email every day, and I still can't say it.
Poland has capitulated.
Years, and I still
did not take very long.
And they puppeted it.
Puppet again. They're really liking the puppets.
Yeah, I wonder if they've got something going on there with the puppets.
Okay.
So that's now.
Anyway, we do in fact have to pause. If I switch to the right computer to pause, there we are. And it's time to take a break.